In this tutorial, I will compare and contrast the BCC Glint and FEC Sparkle Edges filters. BCC Glint and FEC Sparkle Edges are two great filters, and at first glance they seem to provide a very similar effect, but they are actually quite different. In this tutorial, I will show you how and when to use each filter appropriately. Okay, so let's get started by using the BCC Glint effect. Now, BCC Glint is located in the OpenGL category of effects. That means that they run off your graphics card, not your processor, for fast previews and renders. And check it out. So here is the Glint filter in action, and you can see that it's picking up on the specular highlights in my image and giving them kind of a star, like streaky light effect. And it's really easy to adjust the parameters using these new on-screen controls. These are new to BCC 7. And they're really handy. You can see how directly I'm able to affect all of these parameters here. And I'm going to go back into the old-fashioned controls for a second and make some changes to these two. All right, and then just push that up, bring that up, and bring that down. Okay, so I got a nice glint effect going on my image. Again, because of the OpenGL, I'm able to just like scrub through the timeline and get a really fast update. Now, the thing about the glint filter is that it auto-detects the luminance values. So if your image changes or the lights change, the glint will change with it. Here's a great example of that. Look at this little plane or comet or, God, I don't know, UFO. And it comes out of nowhere, but because it's bright, it still picks up on the glint effect for a really cool, like almost self-animating effect here. So that's the point behind the BCC Glint. It gives you a nice kind of dazzling look on your. Now, what if you want to create a similar look on some text? Well, let's see how that looks. I'm going to create some text here because I am using footage of Australia after all. Okay, so we have our letters OZ. Let's turn off the glint on the background. Let's apply it to the text. Okay, so we have glint on the text, but we lost our background. That's a feature of the BCC Glint. It creates its own alpha channel, but it also destroys one too. So you can get it back by just selecting your background layer there. And I've got the same parameters. I can try to create a similar effect, bringing down the scale, turning up the brightness. But when I adjust the threshold, nothing really changes. Well, there it changes. So it's either all on or all off. Now that's because the text is a solid color and it's, that or nothing. So there's no gradient here for the threshold to work off of, and so it can't really see the difference between the edge and the fill of the text. So if you wanted a dazzling effect on the edges of your text, this isn't the ideal filter. It looks great if you want something on the fill, but it's not, isolated to the edge. Now, to get that effect is where FEC Sparkle Edges comes in. So going into FEC now, and this is version 6, which is the newest version of FEC, which also includes these on-screen controls. Okay, so the default setting also fills the text, but you can kind of get an idea that it's seeing the edges a little better than the glint did. And in fact, if you go into the Show Sparkle Map checkbox here, you can actually see the edge range. And if I change that, oh, check it out. There it is. And bringing down the size a bit, there it is again. And that took me, like 3 seconds? Well, if you don't have 3 seconds, guess what? We've included a preset which already finds the edges for you. And look, there it is. So now, if I go through the timeline, the Sparkle Edges effect is isolated to just the edges of the text. And you'll notice that the edges are fading in and fading out and moving along. That's because this filter is auto-animating. So I've got all these controls here for flash frequency. Turn that up. I can change the orbit size, amount, the viewable sparkles. One of my favorite parameters in this filter is the edge offset. Check this out. So you can go from all the way inside the text to all the way outside. And of course, this applies to any alpha channel. So it doesn't have to be text. It could be a logo or anything like that. Even footage that has been, keyed out with the blue screen or green screen filter. Okay, so this filter is a lot of fun, and you can clearly see how it gives you a similar look, but it's a totally different filter than the Glint. And I'll turn that back on. Okay, so we have both of these on now at the same time. Let's change the color a tad, make it stand out a little. All right, so there we have it. And let's do a quick preview to RAM of both of these together, see how that looks. And check it out. We have some really excited sparkles along the edges of this Oz here, and the glints are more or less staying consistent in the background. So, I don't know, this could be like a prize on your game show or something. So you could win Australia, I guess. Anyway, so these two filters obviously go well together. You can also try stacking the filters to get a really cool effect that way. I'm not going to do that right now, but you should try it by downloading a free, fully functioning trial version of our product at our website, and that's at borisfx.com.